I, Header Peter Giddy, Fraser. COVID-19 exists etymologically. There probably are pathogens that are defined as COVID-19. The definition of a pathogen as COVID-19 is a catch-22, yielding an outcome where either way you're harmed. Diseases are usually named to explain the nature of the pathogens involved and to some degree to provide insight into the way in which dilapidation of divine order occurs. This means that the name given to a disease tends to describe it in an etymological sense, thereby yielding an outcome where the name of the disease is usually unfavorable to human being as diseases harm, and thus people who want to continue being usually then reject the disease, in part by refuting the name of the disease. The designer and definer of COVID-19, Adam, i.e. harm, was probably infected with HIV, as the name COVID-19, in an etymological sense, is favorable to human being, but the associated symptoms and or pathogens that COVID-19 is the name of are not favorable to human being. This breaks the naming convention of a disease. Describing a pathogen with a name, a concatenated character set, that is favorable to human being, while the disease induced by the pathogen is not favorable to human being. This is an example of immunosubversion on many levels: sociopolitical, cultural, etymological, behavioral, and physiological. People are becoming vassalized by disease, and when they are vassalized, they tend to harm human being and advance the spread and continuity of disease, usually the disease that they are vassalized by. There is a causal relationship between unsustainable human behavior in the context of divine order and infection, with infection as the primary etiology of corrupted sustainability, corrupted divine order. Why is the name COVID-19 harm? Etymologically, COVID-19 means being separated from IgGM. This roughly means being separated from Adam or being separated from HIVM. IgGM means Adam, HIVM, which is a reference to the Adam of the Garden of Eden. Adam is disease. The description of creation, Genesis, the Old Testament, is wrong. Adam was not enticed to have sex with Eve. Adam raped Eve. I'm not going to go into full detail, but Judaism, Christianity, and Islam are all religions that support Adam for raping Eve via their belief in only one side of the account, the side of Adam. If Adam attempted to meet the expectations of Eve, then Adam would have cleansed himself of disease and thus would have been attractive to Eve. But being a subhuman, Adam did not attempt to meet the expectations of Eve, but rather decided to rape her, ultimately becoming the husband of God and Eve. As this occurred, the divine order of the Garden of Eden was destroyed. The more that Adam rapes women, Eve, the more that both God and Eve are drawn into a lesser form. Calling a pathogen COVID-19 is an etymological attempt by HIV rapists, subhuman Adam disease, to further subvert the divine order that remains. By naming a disease being separated from Adam, Adam is attempting to trick human beings into believing that eradication of Adam is a disease. Yet Adam is a disease. This is an attempt to advance the interests of Adam, to advance misogyny, to advance the destruction of freedom. Why is there a face mask requirement pertaining to COVID-19? The utilization of the types of face protection implemented, surgical masks, do not actually mitigate the distribution of virusized respiratory droplets and/or fomite. They are actually harmful because they tend to cause reinfection with other pathogens such as CPN, and because they cause the wearer to believe that they are protected when they are not, thus causing a downregulation in behavioral immunology. The face mask looks a lot like a Muslim burqa, and this is not a coincidence. Muslims, like Adam, are extreme misogynists, and usually that which supports Adam's Machiavellian disease-based advances also supports the spreading of Islam. The Quran actually states that infidel women may be raped by Muslim men to spread Islam. This indicates that the ideology of Islam is based on biological contact, possibly pathogen. Islam attempts to replace the traditional Western nation states, national governments, with religious order known as Sharia. When government is integrated with religion, then the government is considered a theocratic government or a non-secular government. This is a problem. Free cultures, feminist cultures, merit-based cultures that work to meet the expectations of Eve, of women, tend not to be theocratic in characteristic. The USOA is meant to be a free country, a secular country, thus the government mandate to force the population to wear face masks, burqas, is an attempt by Adam Disease Tyranny Islam to advance the precedent of theocratic government in a country that normally staunchly defends against that kind of infraction. The USOA tends to protect the population from various forms of subhuman imposition by government. Another purpose of the face mask burqa non-secular requirement is to help police terrorist groups, other government terrorist groups, misogynist terrorist groups, communist terrorist groups, and Muslim terrorist groups to easily detect those in the population who are not in compliance with arbitrary Machiavellian decrees made by Adam Disease. Once detected by not wearing the face mask, the subhuman, Adam Disease, are then better able to direct attacks at those advertising their resistance against theocratic government decrees, at those fighting for freedom, fighting for Eve, fighting for being. Interestingly, this could actually be the source of ARD and other forms of respiratory problems, as the subhuman, Adam Disease, etc., is possibly engaging in directed NCV warfare, differential attacks, their use of face masks while the target does not, against those fighting for freedom, fighting for Eve, fighting for being. Adam Disease does not have the moral capacity to adhere to human institutions such as the Geneva Conventions, as they are disease.